Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cubs Daily by your host, Steven Ryan. I hope everybody's having a fantastic start to their spring training. Baseball is getting closer and closer. Opening day in Japan is only a few mere weeks away. We have some fun news and notes to dive into. But before we do that, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. What is your best bet for this baseball season? Is it a prop bet? Is it the Cubs win total over under? We are going to go over more of that later on here in the video. But guys, make sure you comment, let me know, and I may just ride with you. But no further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's hop right into it. In the first video, I did discuss that the Cubs DFA'd Alexander Canario. As I mentioned, he was a big-time part of that Chris Bryant trade back in 2021. And unfortunately, we just didn't have enough room for him on the roster. We DFA'd him to make room for Justin Turner, and we were able to trade him to the Mets for cash considerations. Basically, we got nothing out of him, or potentially the whole Chris Bryant deal in general, which is a true shame because a big reason that we kind of cut the cord early on that project was to get a bigger player and maybe rebuild the future of Cubs baseball. Unfortunately, we just didn't have enough room in the outfield for Alexander Canario. He showed glimpses of great hitting and great prowess, but unfortunately, when you don't get the consistent at-bats at the big league level, it just doesn't really work out for you in terms of big league development. So I hope he can catch on elsewhere, maybe with the Mets, maybe with another organization. But I, again, want to wish the best of luck to Alexander Canario. But the more important part about this is the warning signs ahead for us Cubs fans. We have a lot of top young prospects in baseball, the most in the top 100 if you look at the rankings, and the time is coming due, okay? Owen Cassey, James Triantos, Matt Shaw, they're all ETA arrival to the big leagues is here in 2025. And guess what? Most of the starting lineup is solidified. Again, Matt Shaw is going to get a good chunk of the ABs and reps at third base. Want to see his progression. James Triantos is a second baseman and shortstop. So the Cubs are going to have to make a decision on Nico Horner. Dansby Swanson's here to stay, ladies and gentlemen. He signed a 7-year deal only 2 years ago, so he's going to be here for a while. So the Cubs need to make a deal on Nico. Nico just signed a 3-year contract. So what does that mean? The Cubs are coming to a very interesting point here where they need to make a decision. Prospects or surefire big league talent. And this is the time, ladies and gentlemen, when the Cubs can start making moves. That's why they made that deal for Kyle Tucker. Now, I'm hoping they don't just do a bunch of rental pieces. I would like to get some stable franchise pieces around here, but either way, the Cubs have a decision that is upcoming here very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, I just don't want another Alexander Canario situation to happen, right? Like with James Triantos or Owen Cassey. I don't want their minor league rights to expire and they have to be on a big league roster, and we just don't have any room for them, you know? So I know the Cubs don't necessarily want to go all in on this team and make that World Series push because it kind of just seems like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Braves and the Phillies are just over the top talented, which again, doesn't mean everything in baseball. You can win the World Series without being quote-unquote the best team. I saw it a lot in my life growing up. It does not change here. Before this past season, 2 6 seeds made the World Series in the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. So it's all very possible, ladies and gentlemen. But the Cubs do need to make some decisions here. And that's kind of leading to my next point here, right? Do the Cubs make a move for a Michael King type player? Michael King is a little bit older, but he's definitely a staff solidifier there in San Diego. He had an outstanding year the past few years. And honestly, San Diego's kind of looking to move off of him. They're kind of looking to cut cash, and they want to move on in their rebuilding process too, because they don't feel like they're necessarily ready to compete with the Dodgers either, even though their team is loaded with the likes of Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Jurickson Profar, etc., etc. But either way, they are going to have to make a decision here very, very soon. And, you know, maybe the Cubs can get Michael King on the cheap. He's good for this year. He will be under team control next year. There's a mutual option. Find it hard to believe that he wouldn't want to stay in Chicago. But either way, going to get the likes of Michael King could be a very cheap, cost-effective move for the Cubs to solidify their bullpen. There are other pitchers out there as well, like another Padre, Dylan Cease. But let's focus on Michael King, right? He's 30 years old. And honestly, the Cubs might not have to give up too much to get him. If the Padres' true concern is getting him off the books, this might be the chance to go in there and for the Cubs to get another surefire pitcher for that staff. You pair him with Steele, Imanaga, and Tyone, that's 4 legitimate major league pitchers that can potentially carry you deep into October. So I would love to see the Cubs make a move like that. But again, baseball trades are tricky. It's all tricky. There's a lot of little nuances that us fans do not truly understand. But I do know this. The Cubs have the pieces to go make another move. Whether that be a big-time bat, a superstar player. They have the depth in the minor leagues, and they have the solidified stars in the big league level, like Nico, like Dansby, Seiya, Ian Happ, all surefire big leaguers that perform very solidly. They have enough there where they can make that decision. I understand trying to do the balancing act of keeping the farm system stocked, right? It's a fun thing to do. I love looking at prospects, love looking at what they could become, but push comes to shove sometimes, and the Cubs are getting to that point where they need to make a decision. Do they want to compete? Or do they think they might need to delay that a little bit more while the Dodgers and Phillies and Braves peter themselves out? Because honestly, ladies and gentlemen, those 3 teams specifically, they don't really do that. Those teams have never really been bad in my lifetime. I definitely grew up when the Braves won 14 straight NL East division titles. Phillies have had some down years, but they've never been down consecutively, and neither have the Dodgers. So if the Cubs want to compete in the NL, they need to dole it out via money or prospects. So Michael King, I think, would be a great addition. Not sure if it would put us over the top, but a good, solid name for you guys to keep your eye out on for this Cubs team. An example right here. This guy that we traded for just this off season, ladies and gentlemen, our main man, Kyle Tucker. Okay? Honestly, I wasn't even expecting Kyle Tucker to be a Cub this offseason. It kind of came out of the woodworks, right? All the reporting was out there. They're saying, hey, Cubs are getting into serious talks. It escalated quickly, and boom. We traded Isaac Paredes and a couple other guys for our main man, Kyle Tucker, who I want to talk about his MVP odds this year. Is it worth the sprinkle, right? He is 5th on the list in terms of odds. If you know who number 1 is, it's obviously going to be Shohei Ohtani, the two-way wonder kid, right? If Shohei pitches at all, he's essentially almost a lock to be the MVP because you know he's going to, at bare minimum, hit 40 home runs, steal 30 bases, hit for a very high average, drive in a lot of runs, score a lot of runs, do the whole 9. I mean, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost a lock for Shohei to win the NL MVP. His odds are at plus 190 right now. If you were going to take a chunk of money, I would put it on that. And if you really want to have some fun, sprinkle it on Kyle Tucker. I think he's going to have a big-time year for the Cubs. If the Cubs have any chance of going deep into October, it's because Kyle Tucker has a sensational season. Last year, in about literally half the games played because he missed due to injury, Kyle Tucker produced. He still hit 23 home runs, drove in at least 70 runs, hit for a very solid average. I imagine a full offseason of being healthy, a full spring training, Kyle Tucker is about to produce some big-time numbers for us Chicago Cubs fans. So get excited to watch him in right field because he's going to be an absolute star. And, of course, we all know he brings that Gold Glove defense as well. So could he win the MVP? It's possible. But the 4 other names ahead of him, Shohei, Bryce Harper, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Mookie Betts, 5 names, it's going to be very, very tough for Kyle Tucker to win that. So maybe if April goes on a little bit longer and the odds get a little bit longer, it might be more worth the sprinkle. But either way, let's dive right into what I think the best Cubs bets are this year, ladies and gentlemen. I have selected a few of them. They are pretty straightforward. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take no further time. Let's get right into it. I got a lot of great ones. I have a few fun ones as well where you can sprinkle a little bit less but maybe make some more money. These are season-long props, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're willing to invest in and take the time, we will do daily props as the season goes on. So do pay attention. These are props for all of 2025. These are the 5 that I am a big-time fan of. Cubs team wins total over. It's set at 83.5. Pacoda has the Cubs projected to win 90 games. So I imagine that the Cubs are going to win at least 84 games. They've won nearly 83 the past few years anyway, and they've gotten significantly better in between the margins, right? Like their bench this year is so much better than any bench that they've had in previous seasons. They flipped Christopher Morel essentially for Kyle Tucker, which is an absolute massive upgrade, by the way. So minus 115, you lay a little bit of the money. Cubs will win 84 games. I'm not afraid of that. I also do think this is the Cubs' time to take the NL Central. It's almost even money. They do genuinely believe that the Brewers are going to be competitive, and I do think they will be competitive as well. You know the Brewers, they are always very scrappy, but the Cubs, we got this, guys. It's our time. It's our time to take advantage. Cubs to win the Central. That is going to happen. Absolutely. Another one that I love is the guy we just mentioned, right? Kyle Tucker. He only hit 23 home runs last year in like 80 games played. Let that sink in. He's going to hit 30 home runs. At plus 108, you're going to earn an extra $8 if you bet 100. 10 times out of 10, deal. If I had to take a lock of all these picks, that would be my lock. Kyle Tucker to hit 30 bombs. No doubt about it. I love it. Last year, Imanaga struck out 174 cats. It might dip this year because Major League Baseball catches up to him a little bit. I can't imagine it's all too much. He's obviously a very, very good pitcher, and he's getting near his prime, his craftiness, the whole nine. Shota is an absolute stud. 156 strikeouts? Child's play. That's light work. Moving on next. These are more of my fun ones because I have a lot of faith in our young man, Pete Crow Armstrong. I would bet 2 on this one. I would do the 40 stolen bases, and let's have some fun 60 stolen bases. He stole 27 bases last year in essentially part-time duty. He played way more towards the end of the year, but he's going to be the full-fledged starting center fielder this year. And I imagine if he takes the correct steps that I think he can, he will be batting up higher in the order than we're all expecting. So he's going to get more plate appearances, more opportunities to get on base. And if he's batting higher in the order, that means he's getting on base more, and he's almost a guaranteed 2 stolen bases every time he gets on the base paths. Pete Crow Armstrong is absolutely electric. I would definitely take him at 40 stolen bases at plus 235. That's doubling your money. That's really good. And then if he gets to 60, which again, I think is very, very possible. I know bases aren't stolen as much, but I think once Pete Crow Armstrong touches the base, he is going to be a threat every single time. And there's going to be multiple occasions this year where he steals second and third. And he might even steal home one time, you know? You never know with this guy. So those are my 5 favorite bets of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your favorite bets in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite bets of the ones I just showed you. And guys, go Cubs, go. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. Peace.